Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. To some of you out there who are familiar with us doing this program at 7 o'clock UK time, 6 o'clock UK time, 8 o'clock Zimbabwean time. We are now going to do it 7 o'clock UK time because of their summertime. So it is by the Zimbabwean time. That is the star by which we navigate. So whenever we change to winter time, the UK time will change, but the Zimbabwean time will remain constant. Thank you very much. Tonight, we'd like to address the issue of the ongoing Constitutional Amendment Bill number 3. The public consultation phase is in full swing. And what people have witnessed is chaos, utter chaos. What is really disappointing here is that anyone at all with half a brain knew this was coming. On this video clip, you're going to see some of the people who were passed in to attend the public consultation in the city of Bulawayo. There are already 700,000 people in Bulawayo. Why would you need to bus in more people? Particularly when you think that for the whole city of Bulawayo, you're supposed to have 2 public hearings. And the first one that has taken place, it lasted only 1.5 hours. And it's over. And you bring in more people from outside Bulawayo. For what end and purpose? Anyone, of course, will tell you is that the purpose is to create the confusion. This is just a farcical process so that the regime can say, yes, we consulted the people, and the people say this is what they want. Here is the video clip.
Going back to the raw areas. What left? How does the Mabasi? Yes, I was that left a moment and I can go straight and put it in Mabasa. As we put 3 so far, 4, 5.
Welcome to the program, Ben. What do you have to say to this?
Good day to you and good day to our viewers. Thank you for joining us. You know, to me, it comes as no surprise. This is the ZANU-PF way of doing things. I look at even the build up to this event where there is this whole consultation going on. Whoever wanted to discuss and wasn't aligned with the bill, they were arrested, they were beaten up, and all manner of evil deeds fell upon them. That alone shows that this is no longer a consultation when you do not allow opposition. ZANU-PF has always been doing that. And this is not the first time. Where, as far as the busing is concerned, I mean, look, this is not a surprise again. I'm actually surprised why people will be surprised to say, Honai Wakoma. Elections themselves, they do the same thing. ZANU-PF has never done anything illegally or by the constitution. They have never done it. It has always been their way or the highway. And again, they made it abundantly clear when they passed this resolution at their past conferences that this thing is going on no matter what. Meaning they were willing to bulldoze anything and everybody that stood in its way. And they are doing it.
Yes, unfortunately, that is very true. What is really disappointing here is that anyone at all with half a brain knew this was coming. And how many times have Zimbabweans been warned that if you participate in a flawed process, you will give that process credibility and legitimacy. We've gone through this over and over again. And yet here we are. People are participating. And it is exactly what we expected. A flawed process, so flawed, is utterly meaningless. These so-called public consultations, we saw this is a repeat. We saw this happen during the constitution-making process. It was just a shouting match. The opposition will bring in their supporters. ZANU-PF its own supporters. And you could tell, could these people have been coached? People in the rural areas start talking about, oh, we want the president to have a fixed term. Or we don't want the president to have a fixed term. You say to yourself, wait a minute. My aunt and my uncle in the rural backwaters have got no idea what a fixed term is all about. So what are they talking about? The truth, of course, is they had been coached. The whole process was stage managed so that the opposition can say, the people said they wanted this, and ZANU-PF can say the people wanted this. As for the passing in of the supporters from rural areas in this case, this is a repeat of what we have seen during elections. We know that during elections, ZANU-PF burst in people from outside a constituency to go and vote in that constituency. They are not in the voters' roll because they are issued with voting slips that says they belong in that constituency. So even if there was an audit of the voters' roll, those people will not be in the voters' roll, and yet they are able to vote. This process was going to be rigged, and that is the bottom line. And people knew it. The question is, why do they keep repeating the same foolish mistake?
I think it then comes down to desperation, where we really don't know what to do, but we want the change so much. And unfortunately, it doesn't work that way. Because once you do not put your head and your mind together to think things through, you really will be just blundering from pillar to post. And I mean, I mentioned the build up to this exercise, where ZANU-PF wants to hold a march. They simply walk, or they simply give the police a call, and they are allowed to do it. When you want to march against it, you will find the police mounted at your house. You are then arrested, distraction, whatever case they will bring up on you. It shows already that even if you are going to go on a consultation, it's not going to bring out any meaningful thing, because they control even who speaks. And like you can see here, all those people that were bussed would overwhelm everybody that is there. And they will make sure that their people speak. And you will have your hands up the whole meeting. Why did you go there in the first place? You knew ZANU-PF was going to do that. It's not like they did not know. And I agree with you. And that's the $1 million question to say, people like David Coltart, who know better and who have experience in how ZANU-PF operates, why did you go and do such a meaningless exercise? And then at the end of the day, you're showing the world that such an exercise did happen.
Yes, David Coltart was one of the people who attended this hearing in Bulawayo. And in the posting there, he is seen with his hand raised. And later on, he posted on his Facebook complaining that he had his hand raised all throughout the time. He was in the front row, and he was never even given a chance to speak. The whole thing was over within 1.5 hours. His complaints are utterly meaningless because of all people, he knew that this was going to happen. On this platform, we have often quoted what he said in his own book, regarding the 2023 elections. He condemned the whole electoral process as being flawed. So flawed, so illegal, that the only logical thing to do was to withdraw, he said in the book. But in the book, he also explains why he and his MDC friends did not withdraw. Greed. This was for the 2013 elections. He and his friends went on to participate in the 2018 elections. Coltart went on to participate in the last elections in 2023, all for the same reason, greed. I think the people of Zimbabwe should be annoyed by people like him, who keep on participating, give the process legitimacy, and then they shed buckets of crocodile tears that the process is flawed. In the posting on Facebook, he concluded that we can do so much better as a nation. He condemned what was going on and said we could do so much better as a nation. I find that incredibly hypocritical. You are the one who keeps on participating and giving a flawed process legitimacy. And you are participating out of greed. And then you sit among the ordinary, long-suffering Zimbabweans and console them, pretend that you are frustrated and sympathize with them for the flawed process and failing system, when you are part of that system, when you are the one who is sustaining the failed system. I find that level of hypocrisy totally unacceptable.
I wouldn't call it hypocrisy on its own. I would add to say, this is a manipulation at its best. I tell you what you want to hear, and you appreciate that. When SADC and the AU and other observer missions condemned our election process as flawed and as having failed to measure up to our own constitution, all these constitution defenders should have not taken up seats in a process that had just violated our constitution. That is the truth. But instead, while SADC was turning the screws on ZANU-PF, the likes of David Coltart were being sworn in as mayors, were taking up positions, in parliament as councillors, therefore saying that we agree with the process. We don't know what SADC and the AU are talking about. This is why we are here today, not because of ZANU-PF alone, but because the opposition has been acting along with ZANU-PF. They have been working together with ZANU-PF. now it it is time to just show the people that we stand with you. We are still with you in this moment and time. But the truth is, they left us a long time ago. And it's now actually us who are foolish now that believe that they are fighting in our corner.
One of the individuals who saw this coming, i.e., Zimbabwe's failed political system coming, is the US ambassador to Zimbabwe at the time, 2004 to 2007, Ambassador Chris Dale. In a leaked cable back to Washington, he said that Morgan Tsvangirai was a flawed character, who is indecisive, and if he should ever get into power, he will become the albatross around the nation's neck. Events have proven the ambassador right. What he could have also said is that it's not just Morgan Tsvangirai, it's the whole MDC Triple C leadership that are flawed, indecisive, and once they get into power, and they have got into power, they've become the milestone around the nation's neck, dragging the whole nation into the abyss. The whole tragedy has been made worse by the very fact that our own people have turned out to be incredibly ignorant, naive, and gullible. They believe anything they are told. They followed blindly leaders like Nelson Chamisa, David Coltart, Tendai Biti, blindly, again and again and again. 2023 elections were rigged. The people should have refused to participate in those flawed elections because they'd had the experience in 2018 where they participated only to give ZANU-PF legitimacy. But they were conned by Chamisa, David Coltart, and others to participate. And millions of them participated. After the elections, SADC and the AU condemned the process as flawed. That should have been the indication for the people to realize that this is a circus. We cannot carry on the way we've been doing it. But did they do so? No. Came this amendment bill. We have said on this platform that it was a decoy to draw attention away from the fact that ZANU-PF had rigged the elections. And it has since morphed into this amendment. If you participate, you'll give the process legitimacy. And people have participated, and they are participating. It doesn't matter whether you attend and you say something, or like David Coltart there, you attend and they're not even given a chance to speak, like so many other people. In a town like Bulawayo, with over 700 adults, to say you are going to have 2 meetings, each 1.5 hours long, and you bust in people from outside Bulawayo to add to the crowd, only is a clear sign they don't want to hear what you have to say. And your participation is only appreciated in that it gives the process legitimacy, because they can say, yes, we carried out the public consultations and they were very well attended. How long are we going to allow ourselves to be dragged into these utterly meaningless processes? And we keep on participating to give them legitimacy. That is the tragedy in Zimbabwe. And until the people open up their eyes, this suffering will never stop. And to be quite honest, we deserve to suffer. Because those who do not learn from the past will be compelled to repeat the same mistakes over and over again and pay the price for it. We are paying the price for it. Think about it. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.